Hey, how's it going?
Hey, soul sister, what is up?
Nothing much.
Can I just say
hmm
that I manifested you and I'm so grateful for you and I love you so much?
You're making me cry on camera. Do you know what you are? You're a cheese ball.
What's up? What's happening?
You're a cheese ball.
I am a cheese ball. I like cheese. Cheese is life.
Can I just say, so I quit my job last year, mid-September, and it's the best decision I have ever made.
Yep, I remember that. Well, I'm happy I quit my previous nursery nurse jobs. And that was the best decision I ever made, even though people are like, what are you doing? And eventually I had like this, you had an amazing job. And I also had like, I was head of like preschool at this private school. And, you know, everybody was just like, it's so not that many young people get to that stage so fast. And like, what's wrong with you? You're getting paid so well. You were getting paid so well in Malawi, which is just like, you know, you were allowed to work from home and you had like so many perks. So everybody, both of us, people were looking at us like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
But that's not all to life, right? There's more to life.
I think a lot of people can relate that, after going through the system and now finding a job that, they're not happy and they question why they are not happy. They question, what's not working, why is it not working? Like having, maybe, your family life is great, your friend life is great, you have a good job, etc. And people are still wondering, okay, like, why am I not happy? Like, I've done it all. I've gone through the system. So, Alia, why is the world not happy? Like, why are so many people not happy?
I think there's so many different things, but people don't know who they are. They
Yeah.
don't know what they want.
hmm
They think that all there is to life is having this paycheck at the end of the month and being able to, provide for their family or for themselves and provide for a certain lifestyle. And also, they feel like they don't have a choice to break out of that system because it's too unsafe. It's not, it's especially with like different environments. Like right now, they'd say COVID. Usually they'd say like, the economy is bad or whatever. There's always something or the other that's going on. And yeah, people just, I feel like they just don't know who they are and they're not brave enough to ask themselves what they want beyond the paycheck of, or even like if they're in, so say like there's like two clients that I have right now that I'm talking to. One of them loves his job, but it's really far away. He's got an amazing boss.
Yeah.
And because he was in a job beforehand where his boss was just horrible, it was terrible, it was a bully, and literally put him down so much. Now that he has an amazing boss and he's appreciated at work, and even though the pay is not amazing, he's staying because he's too scared that he's not, because that means so much to him, and he's too scared that he's not gonna get that elsewhere. Another person I know who literally hate their jobs, they hate their bosses, they don't like the environment they're in, but the paycheck is a good paycheck. They're being overworked, but it's just like, at least I have a job. They don't think that there's anything beyond that, and if there is, they're too scared to like leap into it or into the unknown because it's scary. It is scary. I've been there, you've been there.
Okay, so we can start with the first one, which is, people don't know who they are, right? So for us, like having been on this spiritual journey to discover who it is that we have learned that the purpose of life is joy and love and happiness, and actually, having a good time and having an abundant lifestyle, right? Whereas
So how did you learn this? Like, tell us a little bit about your story. Like, what was the journey that you went through to learn this? You grew up in Malawi, you studied in Canada.
Yeah, so I was raised in Malawi until I was about 13 years old. We moved to Canada, did my high school education there, and then my university education. And when I was in university, I moved from business to economics because I really enjoyed like economics and the integration of like business and analysis and math. From there, graduated, try to figure out, what it is, which direction I wanted to go, recognize that, I love to help people. So moved to more like a philanthropistic work life, and then ended up having this beautiful job that within the private sector that encourages, job creation, higher incomes for lower income groups. So having moved through that system and recognizing that, okay, after I had completed my university education, I had gotten this really great job, I then was like, okay, now I'm happy, like in between all of that, I fell in love, had a baby girl, and, have this beautiful little home in Malawi now. And you would think, having all of these things would make me happy, would, bring some sort of contentment, some sort of peace into your life. But ultimately, I started to like have severe anxiety, like massive anxiety attacks. I felt like, I was living a very robotic lifestyle, very much the same day, every single day. I didn't feel any joy. I didn't feel any bliss. And so from there, like, I know I've always been inclined to studying about, existentialism. So the purpose of existence, why we're here. So throughout all of this, I kept on reading, kept on, gaining more and more understanding. And then you came into my life and you literally, wake up, Shahina. Wake up, Shahina, literally. So like having like this awakening where you just like, dude, you're not supposed to be this miserable. That's not what life is. You're not supposed to be unhappy and stressed and tired all the time. Like, there's so much more to experience and enjoy in this life. And that's where we started doing, like, I started reading, I started, learning about your spiritual journey and where you had gone. You started teaching me. So yeah, it led me to understanding that,
Which is funny because we've both had like instances where we've switched as teachers. Because I remember when I first started writing my first children's book, we weren't even that close. But for some reason, I felt called to like messaging you and asking you to be like my mentor and like, hold me like responsible to like actually get this book done. And here we are, fast forward, freaking soul sisters, best friends, and having, done a book together, starting companies together. It's crazy where life takes you. And the avenues that open up if you just decide to follow that little niggling, voice, your gut instinct, which is what you followed, right? Because
exactly.
I can go, or anyone can go and talk to so many different people and say so many different things, but if you're too scared or if that doesn't resonate with you, it's just going to remain that. It's going to be a conversation that you probably even forget like a week from that conversation.
So yeah, when you answer the first question, who are you, right? Like after doing all this reading, doing all this research, like going on the spiritual journey, we recognize, oh wait, we're not just mind and body, we have a soul. And you start exploring that avenue and start understanding, okay, so I have a soul, like what does that mean? Who's my soul? What do they sound like? Can I see them? Can I touch them? Can I feel them? And like recognizing, okay, so the conclusion that we've made is that your soul is here to experience love and the highest expression of itself through growth and through creation. And we negate that part of who we are, right? And when you start looking at, okay, so what it is that my soul wants to experience, you're looking at life from a different perspective, as opposed to, what does society want of me?
So for people like who are just introduced to this, people who are in general religious, know that we have a soul, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and people in general have heard of the soul, but they don't look at it as this, you know, this divine connection to God, this to pure consciousness, to source. They think it's just this thing, like, you know, like ruh, it's just this thing that you have that's like a part of you that's keeping you alive, but not realizing that that's who you truly are. Your soul is who you really are. So what would you say that the soul is, and the importance of knowing who the soul is? Because everybody is walking around with their names that they've been given at birth,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, this identity, your first name, middle name, last name, you
Mm-hmm.
know, your passport, where you're from, where you grew up, where my family's from, this is what I've studied, and it becomes like the CV that you carry with you through life. Like, this is who I am, this is what I've done, this is what I like, you know, this is my type in like relationships and whatever. This blueprint is who I am, but not realizing that that's all created by you. You know, that's not who you are. Your soul is your real blueprint, but we've forgotten that.
Mm-hmm. One of the concepts of the theories that I like to bring up is that I think Deepak Chopra actually talks about this a lot, is that if you are aware of your mind and if you are aware of your body, are you the mind and the body, or are you the awareness, right? So I like to use that analogy to try and understand the soul and the perspective of the soul, which is neither the mind and the body, but rather like pure consciousness, like a pure universal essence, really. And so the soul uses the mind and the body as a vehicle in order to experience their essence, in order to experience the soul's essence, the purity of their essence, and the highest expression of the essence. But with humanity, you
Yeah,
know, we
our
tend,
bodies are simply a vessel.
yeah, exactly. So we tend to look at it the opposite way, right? Like we tend to think that, okay, we're just, you know, mind and body. Like for example, we start with bodily functions. You know, a lot of people are moving just with the motions. They're moving with the motions of, you know, the identities that they've been given. So whether you're a mother, a father, a daughter, a sister, you know, a worker, your title of your job position, right? So we're just moving with those those motions. And then you have a set few of people who move to the mind, you know, who start, you know, tending to the mind and understanding, you know, how the mind functions. And then you have the very few of us that now look at the soul as using the mind and body as a vehicle to the expression and the experience of self. So yeah, I would define the soul as pure consciousness, here using the mind and the body as a vehicle to experience love and the highest expression of itself through creation and growth. That would be my definition of the soul. So I think like over
But
time,
see, what is the soul made of? Like, why is the soul? We get why the soul is so important, but why is it so important? So I look at the soul as not just something that you have,
mhm,
right? Your soul is a connection to the divine. Your soul is made from the divine. It's a part of the divine. It's a
mhm,
part of pure consciousness. And there's so many different quotes in so many different religious texts where people, where God has said, you know, I breathe life into man, and that's how man was created. You are a part of me. You were made from me. I wanted to experience life and therefore made man. There's so many different quotes that talk about how we are made from the essence of God,
mhm,
right? And with these little, that's why when we talk about everyone is pure consciousness and everyone is connected, and there's no separation, this is what we really mean. All of us are one pure consciousness. We're just one form of consciousness living in thousands and millions and billions of bodies.
mhm,
And I think it's a Rumi quote that says, "You are not," or Alan Watts, I'm not sure, but it's like, you are not a person experiencing the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself. You know, there's so many different things and so many different ways to talk about this and explain it, whether you want to talk about it from a scientific point of view, you know, quantum science, quantum physics, talk about it from, you know, the universe is just like a holograph. People explain, you know, the movie The Matrix and say it's like more of a documentary. There's all these spiritual teachers that talk about it. There's so much religious text that talks about it, but, you know, it's not, there's so much of the fear that's focused upon and not the really small nuggets of wisdom and truth that is so blatantly just lying there and out there. And once you understand that, once you fully interpret it and like really receive that wisdom, understanding it from like an internal point of view, it just blows your mind at what you thought life was all this time and like, what it really is.
That journey. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, if we can conclude that, you know, it's the soul that's here experiencing itself through the mind and the body, then our perspective changes, right? Our perspective on life changes. It's not just about, you know, having that big house, making more money, you know, moving up the job ladder, you know, competing against others in business or going head to head, etc. You come from a place of, how can I love more? You know, how can I experience joy more? How can I experience the creation of self more, right? And you start to ask,
what makes me happy? You wake up every day and you think, what am I going to do today that makes me happy?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, look at life from that perspective. So, I mean, once you answer the question, like who you are, and then start asking the question, what it is that you want to do, the thing is, the system that has been built, unfortunately, is not conducive to the soul. It's not a system that's built from the perspective of the soul. So
none of the systems we have, not the healthcare system, not the education system, not the political system, nothing. Exactly. It's just a system of making money, a system of greed, a system of patriarchy, and a system of just things that just don't work, of separation.
And so, I mean, I understand why so many people come from the position of fear. So many people come from a position of, you know, I don't know which direction to go. I don't know what to do. I do have to feed myself. I have to feed my family. I have to look after, you know, I have responsibilities around me. So I get it, you know, like we all have been there, and a lot of people are in that position where the system doesn't work for you, it works against you, and it literally suppresses you into this very robotic and systematic way of life, which is completely the opposite of the experience of the soul and the reason of existence, right? So, I mean, we definitely understand where people are coming from, but what would you say to people who want to start making that jump, who want to start making that leap?
I would say start following that little niggly feeling in your gut, you know, the little voice that's whispering to you every day. I would say take some time out of the rat race every day, whether you're a mom, you know, you're a stay-at-home mom and you have, you know, so many kids to look after and to tend to and all these different chores to do, whether you're in the rat race and, you know, you have like a crazy job and crazy job hours and work hours, whatever it is that you're doing, even if you're a student, no matter who you are, where you're from, what you're doing, take some time out every day to ask yourself some important questions. Like, who am I? What do I want? What makes me happy? It could be the silliest things, but just sit with yourself every day. Take time to go into the silence, to go into the stillness and that place where, you know, you meet, you start connecting with your inner being.
Start connecting
and
with soul.
Yeah, to yourself, really, to know who you truly are. And when you take that time to connect with yourself, to connect with your soul. Just sit with it, you know? And then sometimes you'll get a little spurt of inspiration, an idea, no matter how silly it is, no matter how crazy it sounds, even if it's just telling you to get up and go and put on a specific show, or to go and get a specific book, or to go and say something to someone, to message someone, or to look up something. Whatever it is, even if it doesn't tell you anything at all, you just feel good after doing that, just go and do that. And make sure you do it every single day, because those small things will start turning into other things and other things and other things. And eventually, your path, like what you really are supposed to be doing, your happiness, that path will start lighting up. And another thing I would say is follow your bliss. Like follow your happiness. Whatever makes you happy, start doing more of that. And even if it means watching another 5 episodes of Friends every day, do it. Mm-hmm. Whatever it takes.
It's funny that you say that, because ever since I was like a teenager, you know, people used to talk and we used to ask each other for advice and stuff. And like one of the things that I would always say is follow your heart. Like follow the whispers of your heart. And it's funny because back then I didn't understand it from a spiritual like perspective. And now I do understand it. I understand that that's always your soul speaking to you. It's always the soul knowing which direction, like that's the best for you, knowing where to take.
Your bliss is quite literally your soul.
Yeah, exactly.
So whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you joyous, whatever lights you up inside, that's your bliss. That's your soul talking to you.